I'm Elisa Parker. It is the Wild and Scenic Film Festival. 21 years we've been celebrating this festival. It is produced by Circle, which has been protecting our watersheds, especially the Yuba River, for over 40 years. And it's an extraordinary festival, and we bring so many incredible filmmakers here and special guests to tell the stories of courage and this year there's a big focus on inclusivity, diversity, hope, solutions, more so than I think we've seen before. And two of the conduits who are part of that is Palmer and Matt, and they've been to the festival. How many times have you been to the festival?
Maybe our fifth time.
Is this your fifth time?
Yeah, we should actually double check that.
We should probably count.
You need to confirm that. So, and this time though, you have a record number of films in here, and I did watch them all. So, Yuba is the Heart, Elevated, Miles to Go, Inseparable, Skye, and each of them captures a really important story of individuals who are going beyond their comfort zone. And gosh, where to even start on this, you guys? Okay, well, let's pick one. What's one we're going to kick off with?
Yuba's the Heart.
I think we have to.
Yuba's the Heart. I know. So
yeah.
I was saying, being in Brooklyn and then flying over, I was watching all the films on the flight, and I was like, oh, I do miss the Yuba.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I love, and you do a beautiful job of capturing that.
Thank you. It's a tall order, I think.
It's a tall order.
Yeah, the film was made in celebration of Circle's 40th anniversary, which is this year. And it was our honor to make a film in celebration of that and try and capture the heart of the community, which is the Yuba and its relationship to Nevada City and Grass Valley and the surrounding area. And just spending time on the river this summer and capturing its beauty.
I love it. And Shelley Covert's in there, who's
Absolutely.
doing an incredible job leading up the Nisenan community here.
Yeah, a crucial voice of that film and this conversation of how this community enjoys the river and respects the river, and getting to work with Shelley and becoming friends through that process was really amazing.
That's fantastic. Where are you both living now?
I live in Oakland.
You're in Oakland. What about you, Matt?
I live in Duluth, Minnesota.
Oh,
western tip of Lake
my
Superior.
gosh.
How cold was it?
It's so cold over there right now.
It was pretty warm. It was like 2 degrees out when I left.
2 degrees. I have a friend in Duluth right now. No, it is insane.
Oh.
It's insane what you're dealing with. Elevated.
Yeah.
Elevated.
Yeah, Elevated is a short documentary about this amazing woman and a good friend of mine named Sonia Wilson, who's a rock climber and also a deaf woman. And she lives in LA and has, for most of her life, been working to try and get more deaf and hard of hearing individuals into the sport of rock climbing and seeing more folks like themselves represented in that industry. So she organizes deaf and hard of hearing climbing retreats in Joshua Tree every year.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And you know what I love about the film is that it's done. We were just talking with Bernie about listening. So it's pretty much there's music, but it's in silence.
Yeah, it's totally
Really well
totally
done.
nonverbal.
Yeah.
The whole film's in
Nonverbal.
American Sign Language, which I'm not fluent in ASL. I grew up with an uncle who's deaf, and I know rudimentary ASL, so that was helpful at times. But it was a challenge.
It's pretty cool. Like, I think when we were kind of planning what that film would look like in the edit, figuring out like how do you portray someone who's not speaking dialogue, and how do you caption, or how do you show, what does an interview look like with someone who's doing ASL? I think it's pretty cool, but I'm biased.
No, it was a brilliant way of showcasing it. All right, and then you also go to Hawaii, Inseparable Skye.
Yeah.
A mom who's a rock climber and connecting with her own indigenous roots.
Yes, yeah. So Inseparable Skye is essentially, as you said, about Skye Kuleane Rizan, is a Kanaka woman and rock climber based in Oahu, and she is working with her nonprofit Kanaka Climbers to try and reconnect indigenous Hawaiians to their lands through the sport of rock climbing, and also working to protect a lot of rock climbing spots and crags and routes that are sacred to the Kanaka people, and making sure that they remain sacred and not desecrated in any way.
It's a beautiful film, and she has her son,
Yeah.
her
Oh my
kids, her
gosh,
two
those
boys. They're adorable.
Those kids.
They're
oh my
kids.
God.
They're
Yeah.
adorable. And then the last film that you're featuring here, I think it's the last film you're featuring here this year, is
Yeah.
Miles to Go.
Yeah, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. Miles to Go is kind of was brought to us in partnership with our longtime friend Perry Cohen of the Venture Out Project. and Perry has put together, or helped to put together, a all transgender trail running team. One of the issues with a lot of trail runs is that these races are gendered, so you have to select a gender box, which leaves a lot of people excluded. So Perry put together essentially, a trail running team that was going to go and run non-gendered races in states that have just passed anti-trans legislation. So the film highlights the team and a race that they ran in Texas in
Last April.
Last April. Oh my God, time.
Yeah.
It's an incredible film as well.
Thank you.
How are all these being screened? Are these, like, how are you doing this all at the festival? Like, are they screened at different, are they in a category together, or are you all over the
We figured out
place?
transportation through teleportation.
Yeah.
We've
You're
kind of cracked
Aussie
that
somewhere
nut,
else right now.
Yeah.
Of course, my doppelganger. No,
Yeah.
It's amazing to be here with so many films. Matt and I have been coming here for many years, and it's truly an honor and a privilege. And thankfully, there are two of us, so we can split up if we need to. And I think in an ideal world, we would love, at any point to have film subjects here, but everyone was just too busy this weekend to come out.
Too busy.
So,
I know. It was,
yeah.
and there's amazing people featured in
I
your
know.
films.
Yeah.
How are you connecting with all of these amazing everyday people?
Yeah, I think for me, and I'm curious to hear what you say too, but I think I read a lot, and whether I'm reading an article or just a newspaper or whatever it might be, and I think as a storyteller and a very visual person, when I come across a story like Sonia, a deaf woman who's trying to get more of her community into climbing, that instantly in my head comes in imagery, And
it's apparent
Yeah.
in the film, because you do both such a wonderful job of encapsulating that.
Thank you.
The
Yeah.
visual story, and they're shorts,
Sure.
some in 8 minutes, 12 minutes.
Yeah.
But you do it really well. They're beautiful.
Thank you.
Capturing the stories.
I think it's really interesting too, like even as I hear, you talk about these films, I know what these films are about, but I get to analyze how you talk about them, and you're like, my friend, and it's so true that like my friend Perry, our friend Sonia, these are people who aren't just like film subjects to us, they're people who like we really care about and love, and I think to us they're friends first before they're like subjects of our films, because we love them and support them and think they're doing amazing work.
So what are you working on next? Who's drawing your attention and your new friends?
Well, we only make films for Wild and Scenic,
That's
so
Wild and Scenic.
we just want to know what people want to see, and then we'll just make those
What do
films.
you want to see? Yeah, you can actually, we're live streaming this. You can
There
put
you
your
go.
little comments.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. We, coming out of the pandemic, there was like a big stall on productions, and then coming out of the pandemic, production really ramped up, which is why we have 4 films here, and a total of like 7 films right now in this kind of festival distribution world, or more. So this year we're just kind of ramping up production again. So in the spring and summer we're working with a really great not-for-profit on some films, a series of films. And then kind of in the process of pitching and getting a few other films funded, hopefully.
Yeah, how does funding work for you? Because you're producing quite a bit. So what does that
Yeah.
look like?
So it's a bit of a hybrid in some ways. So we of course have our what we call, I guess, client-based work, where we have folks who are reaching out to us or we're connecting with who have a need for a story to tell or a film to be made, and we'll work with them to figure out how to create it, as well as coming up with what we call originals, some ideas of our own creation or other filmmaking friends who have an idea but need help. They want other folks to collaborate with, and we can kind of work with them on that. And we come up with a pitch, and we think of, okay, who's the right fit, who's the right funder for this project, and sending it out and making it happen.
So you've been also, as a filmmaker and a documentarian, you really are covering everything, right? You have to learn how to market, you have to learn how to negotiate, you have to
Right.
learn how to partner and see
Yeah.
where it's going to fit and meet. It's a
Totally.
whole process.
It really is. And Matt and I we were lucky enough to meet in undergrad, actually. We went to undergrad college together, and both were in a film program. And, I think for us, we learned a lot of technical stuff. We learned a lot of,
How to hold microphones.
how to hold
How to
microphones.
hold a microphone.
But the business side of thing is something I think, especially in this day and age with festivals like Wild and Scenic, there's so many different ways to get a film made, and in a lot of ways you kind of have to be willing to be self-taught or ask questions and whatnot, and we're still learning.
Yeah.
And
I think too, like festivals like this are an amazing opportunity for filmmakers to connect, for other festival directors to connect with filmmakers. Like, we're learning new ways to fund these really important stories just by talking to other people, and there's a lot less like I'm not going to talk to you about how I fund my films going on. We all kind of want to share what we know so we can keep telling these stories that are so important and so impactful. So festivals like this, the fact that we're like back in person and sharing these spaces and stories, it's like, I'm getting goosebumps because it's like what we need.
It feels so good,
and
it's been 3 years since we've met at Wild and Scenic in person, and there's going to be incredible things that happen, and you two are part of that. So thank you so much for everything you're doing and the stories you're bringing to another. I was going to say bringing to life. We know the people in them are obviously doing their thing, but it's great to be able to expand that so we can learn about it, and it inspires all of us to say, how am I going to show up in my best way? And also through our own passions. And that's important too. And anything's possible. And it really focuses a lot, again, like I said, on inclusivity and going beyond the boundaries of what we think. Like, it's not trying to conform to something else, to fit in a certain way. We are showing what's possible in our own ways. So thanks, guys. Matt and Palmer. Good to have you here.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'm Elisa Parker. It's the Wild and Scenic Film Fest. We're here at the Media Lounge. We're going to be here all weekend. We are live streaming on the Wild and Scenic Film Fest Facebook feed and also YouTube. And you might be able to hear some things on KVMR as well. And it's great to be here with you. We'll be right back.